Welcome to another podcast on living a full life. I am Dr. Enrico Dolcecore, and this week we're building off last week's podcast of healthy diets, and we were talking about eating and New Year's resolutions. And what ended up happening is I ended up getting a bunch of text messages, Facebook comments, and messages about diets and personal questions people have. And one thing I realized is that there's some contraindicating questions that come in about what we believe about food. And the most popular one was, hey, you're really against processed foods, it sounds like. And yeah, I guess my tone was, that processed foods are bad. And the difference between medical advice and natural advice is that medicine builds on the fact of, will it kill you? The whole, in quotes, did you die? And of course, it's lighthearted, but everything in moderation is a good rule. But from a natural perspective, we look at the physiological outcome of everything that we do. What does stress do? What happens when a child is yelled at in that moment? What happens to their cortisol? What happens to their mental health? We look at it from a vitalistic perspective in the moment. Medicine looks at it from a pathological lens of what will that trauma do pathologically long term. And because long term we adapt and heal, those things do not kill us. Does that make sense? So eating, a muffin, no, isn't going to hurt us or kill us. So medicine looks at it pathologically. Will you get a pathology if you eat a muffin? The answer is no. But vitalistically, the answer is yes. Because in the moment that you eat that high sugar, high carb processed muffin, your physiology changes in that instance. Immediately inflammation goes up, your insulin spikes, your pancreas works harder, and your stress hormones go through the roof. And that might take, 20 minutes of digestion, 2 hours of digestion, and may have a 5, 6, 12, 24-hour effect on you. In the grand scheme of things of your entire life, did that muffin really do anything? No, but those constant traumas to our system does cause disease. And we need to understand that. That's the whole point of that. So that's where aside from that, the questions were great. And that's what this week's podcast is going to be about, is the top diets, the most popular diets. And I'm gonna put them through. There's about 8 of them. I'm gonna put them through from weight loss first, because I think that's why people look into dieting is for losing weight, and then into the diets that are just good diets to follow for the rest of your life. So let's start there. And I mean, the keto versus Atkins diet. Keto, or the ketogenic diet, it pretty much defines itself. It's how do we get the body into ketogenesis, which means that it will turn the body's fuel burning into fat only and ketones only. Great way to lose weight, I'll tell you what. And there's some great anti-cancer research behind the ketogenic diet and turning off those carb cycling pathways in the body, because there's 3 things we know about cancer. Is 1, it likes acidic environments. 2, it doesn't need much oxygen. And 3, it loves carbs and sugars. So it's pretty much what it eats. So if you starve the body from carbohydrates 100%, cancer starves too, which is a great technique for, anti-cancer. I'm not, this is not oncology advice. This is not if you have cancer, it's just anti-cancer, preventing cancer. Atkins took the ketogenic diet and just said, go ahead, eat as much meat as you like. The ketogenic diet gives you some guidelines on how much carbohydrates you should have. Atkins as well. So those are the difference between the two. However, long-term ketogenesis and long-term ketogenic diet usage actually doesn't have as many great benefits as you may think. So what's long-term? Long-term is anything over 6 months. Okay. So that becomes, chronic use of the diet. No net carbs, no fruits, no sugar. That's what Atkins and that's what keto both say. You're just eliminating carbohydrates 100%. The calorie intake should still be, relative to your BMI. And that's that diet. So to sum it up really quickly for you, it is, no carbs, no net carbs, no fruits, no sugars, nothing at all. That's the 0 one. The next one on that is the paleo diet. The paleo diet I'm a fan of. It comes from the premise of hunter-gatherer and what we used to do before, civilized times of, farmers markets and cities. How did we go and eat out in the wild? I mean, we'd wake up, we'd go out and hunt. And hunting could be just getting, fruits and berries or just finding what we could. Think of a bear in the wild. They're just going out, usually eating vegetation, fruits, berries, whatever they could find, seeds, grubs, roots. And if they got lucky to catch some meat, they would eat some meat. And same thing with humans. We would, go out, try and hunt, try and find something, either fish, use spears, get small game, maybe tackle a big game that day and try and bring it back to the tribe, and we would feast on that for a couple of days. And some days you may go with very little food. Some other days you may run into like a fig orchard and eat figs all day. That's the paleo idea. The problem with the paleo idea is the only problem really with the paleo idea is that you just end up eating a lot of meat. And the paleo people don't like us, talking about the negatives of paleo because they really love the diet and it's done really good for them. And I highly recommend the paleo diet to a lot of people, just to consider their meat consumption because it can get out of control. You're eating meat for breakfast, lunch, dinner. You're grabbing like turkey deli for snacks. I mean, you're just consuming a lot of meat. And if you're buying it all, farm raised, grass fed, I guess you're in good shape. And wild caught fish, and you're actually going to be in pretty good shape. It's just hard to do and it's very expensive. So just being realistic with that. Great diet compared to keto. I think paleo is better. As far as a full lifestyle, this is not something you need to stop. This can be a lifestyle that you use for the rest of your life. The third one, again, on the weight loss train, these are the three diets that I'm going to put on for, weight loss. People who really want to look at weight. The chirothin diet. The chirothin diet, I've been heavily involved in the last couple of years for two reasons. One, it's just fast. As we turn into, the 2020s here and the decades keep passing, time becomes the most valuable commodity for everyone. We just don't have time. We have so many apps on our phones. We have so many emails in our inboxes. We have so many text messages, so many pictures, so many videos, so much social media going on that time is becoming so finite for people. They can't even manage their schedules anymore. Like, how do you get the kids to all the sports things that they want to do? How do you manage your life? How do you get your workouts in? It's becoming even more difficult as the years go by. And I think you may feel that as well at times. Like, where's the time? Where are these days going? How do we fit more into the schedule? How do these kids learn more? How do we do piano lessons? How do we do golf lessons? How do we squeeze this stuff in? And you almost feel like you're failing. The chirothin diet takes, 6 weeks. And from a chiropractic perspective, it fits so well into our practice because let's be honest, people coming in with knee pain, hip pain, ankle pain, leg pain, joint pain, and they're 100 pounds overweight. I'm straight with my patients and I just tell them, do you think you do better with 50 pounds off your frame and still getting adjusted? I know getting adjusted helps you. You feel better for a few days, but then you come in back the next week and your knee hurts again. And people are on, they know I'm telling them the truth. They're like, yeah, absolutely. And that's where the chirothin diet, in 6 weeks, people are losing 20, 30, 40 pounds in their first round if they have that much to lose. So just to pre-phrase this diet, it's pretty much the whole food diet, eating portion control, lunch and dinner. So you're taking whole foods, meat. You can have some ground beef, like a hamburger, some zucchini, free veggies like tomato, lettuce, all that stuff is free. You can eat as much as you want, and then a fruit. And they're all measured in 4 ounces. So 4 ounces of protein, 4 ounces of approved vegetables like zucchini or broccoli, and then 4 ounces of an orange or an apple. And that's your lunch. And then you do the same thing for dinner, and you skip breakfast. So it combines the theory of intermittent fasting to cycle your fat burning through the day and give you longer time to fat burn, and gives you just enough calories a day to kind of function. It's a VLC diet, or a very low calorie diet, hence why people lose so much weight so quickly. The offloading of this diet is the tricky part, and the hardest part of the diet is to get back to normal portions, which I think this diet does a great job, just starting to add 1 ounce of protein per day as you offload over the next 2 weeks after that. So people lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks, then they start to offload, or they offload and do a second round of the diet to lose another 20 or 30 pounds. So this is how we get those, our top performers in our program that lose over 100 pounds. They've done it 2, 3, maybe a fourth time, or have run away with the diet as a lifestyle and then started to incorporate exercise and bring back carbs to fuel their exercise, and they're living a healthy lifestyle that way. And they've learned what a portion is, and they've learned, how much to eat. And that's what they walk away with. So they're back to, do they eat pizza? Yeah. Do they have, some carbs? Do they have muffins? Yeah. They go back to a real life, but the portions are a lot less. So it's not 4 chocolate chip cookies. It's like, I'm going to sneak one of those chocolate chip cookies after dinner tonight. And they make that decision and they go for it because they know next day they're going to go for a run, or they're going to do some exercise. So I think that's a healthier offload. We need to nurture those people a little bit better. So there you go. That's the weight loss ones. If you're going to do weight loss, you want to pick, something along those lines of Whole30, paleo type eating. Keto, I really don't like it because of the exercise component. Just like the very low calorie diet with Keratin, exercise is wiped out. You should not exercise on this. The keto people are going to disagree with me, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you know half of what physiology is in the body, you need carbohydrates to turn into glycogen to fuel the muscles in the body. And if you're not getting those, exercise becomes difficult. Can you walk? Can you swim? Can you do that stuff on keto and Keratin? Absolutely. So I hope that was helpful. Now, the most popular diets after that are the Mediterranean diet. If I'm going to pick a winner out of this podcast, the Mediterranean diet is the best way to live your life forever. You should base your entire way of eating on the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is a whole food, plant-based philosophy coming from that Mediterranean area of, Turkey, Greece, the Mediterranean Sea, way back thousands of years ago, and what people had. And what they had, was fresh fruits growing on trees, the figs, the apricots, the peaches. That's what they had growing out there, and olives and seeds, a lot of seeds and legumes and beans. That's what they had there. That's what they based their diet off of. Meat was a luxury for everyone in ancient Greece. In those times, in the Roman Empire, meat was tough to come by. And if you did, it was very expensive in the markets. But people still ate meat. They would get it. It was just, you just didn't get a 12-ounce ribeye. That'd be a really big Christmas meal. That would be shared amongst people. And the Mediterranean diet just focuses on good, healthy fats, which I think a lot of diets miss out on. You need to have the good, healthy fat. Paleo does a good job in Whole30. They talk about good omega-3 fats, which come from are good fats, the olives, the avocado, the coconut, where the fats come from the good fatty acid chains of omega-3s, not the omega-6s and 9s. We end up ruining a lot of the fat the way we cook on high temperatures, especially if you fry anything at a high temperature, you have rancid fats in your food, which is horrible. It creates oxidative stress in your body immediately, physiologically, and the stress response goes right through the roof as soon as you eat a few French fries or you fry anything in any oil. The difference between the medical view and the vitalistic view. The vitalistic view is saying you're hurting yourself right there. The medical view says long-term, you can have some French fries. Got it? One is not right and one is not wrong. It's just the perspective that we're going to look at this. It's like, hey, you want to have a cigar with me? Okay, let's have a cigar. The medical view, cigar, not going to give you lung cancer. The vitalistic view, saying you're starting the process of cancer in your body by smoking that cigar. I mean, not good, not bad. It's just the philosophy that we're looking at. Okay. So that is the Mediterranean. Big fan of that one. Whole30 is pretty much the Mediterranean diet, looking at the colors of the rainbow, trying to eat as many different fruits and vegetables and getting a variety of colors in our diet across all things. They kind of stay away from legumes a little bit because of fiber and digestive research has gone behind it, but very similar to the Mediterranean diet. Whole30, look it up online. They got great following online. I think that's why the Whole30 diet is so popular. They've created a community. They have great books. They got great programs. They got great support. So if you buy the book, you get the links. You go to the website. You register. I think they have monthly subscriptions. They have free groups. They've just done a good job promoting healthy diet and healthy living. So Whole30, very easy to go. The raw and vegan diets, these are stricter diets. The vegans are going to tell you that they live the healthiest life possible. But some of the largest people I've ever met in my life claim to be vegetarian or vegan. And because the crackers and the cheese take up most of their diet, you just can't do that too much. I mean, it's just too bad fat, too high fat, and too simple carbs. You're creating a ton of stress, yada, yada, yada. But let's look at the people who do a great job on this. Vegan is the cleanest way to eat. You're avoiding all negative byproducts and chemicals from the food sources that you eat. How great is that for the human body long term? It's just a good way to eat. I like my meats. So for me, I won't do the vegan diet. I've gone vegan for a couple of days because I forgot to eat meat. But other than that, a vegan diet's not for me. But for the people who do it, and are successful with it and are healthy, talk to them. The problem is with vegans, you need supplements. You need to supplement a lot of the minerals and B12s and vitamin D, because you're just not going to get it, because that's what meats give us. Raw food, same thing. You got to avoid meat, because how are you going to cook it? Unless you eat raw, fish, I guess, sushi. You could probably have that on the raw diet. But raw diet is just telling you, listen, fruits and vegetables are thy medicine on this earth, and that's all you're going to eat. Raw food, people get into that type of a diet because they've gone through some ailment and they're just trying to stay healthy afterwards, or mitigate any autoimmune responses afterwards. So they find out what's going on and they stick to the foods that they can eat, and they typically are plant-based and do well. And on the next episode, we're going to have the cancer talk starting, and my dad's journey with the raw food diet. So I won't get too much into detail about raw food here, but it is what it sounds. Fruits, veggies, you can do them into smoothies. You can eat them raw. You're just not cooking stuff, and you're not breaking them down, because all the fruits and vegetables on earth grow off the trees and plants and in the ground with the exact enzymes in them to break themselves down. What a magnificent engineering of this universe. Isn't that amazing? We don't talk about enzymes and minerals that much, but they make up everything. It's like not talking about bacteria. I may have got this stat wrong. I should have looked it up, but something like 80% of the world's mass is soil and bacteria and insects. Like that's what makes up the mass, like the total mass of the earth. Insane. But we don't talk about the little things underneath the iceberg. We always talk about the tip, and the tip becomes so popular because it's visible. And we talk about, proteins, fats, carbs, but then underneath this tip of the iceberg are these minerals and enzymes and everything that makes up everything, and fiber. And we forget to talk about that. So the raw food diet is like, listen, we're talking about under the iceberg here. You grab a piece of celery and you chew that celery, you're automatically chewing the enzymes and swallowing them the exact same time that you eat them, that will digest them in your stomach for you. Pretty cool. Once we start cooking things, we lose the enzymes. We break them down very quickly. Any warmth or heat can deassemble an enzyme. Bad, good. It's okay. It's just the way cooking your food has other benefits to it. You kill off bacteria, you kill off other things. From the reason why we cook our food is to kill bacteria so we don't get sick. So cooking food is a good thing. I'm not saying don't cook it, but that the raw food diet says don't cook as much as you can, blend, smoothie, eat raw as much as you can, eat fruits. And that is the raw diet. Vegan diet, no meat products at all, no eggs, nothing that comes from animals, no milk sources from them. Nuts are okay, seeds are okay in that diet, and of course all the fruits and vegetables. So you can kind of see how they go together, and you can cook in the vegan diet as well. Then some not so popular ones, but you may have heard of, and some of the questions came up. That's why I added these two diets in here. The carb cycling diet. The carb cycling diet says to just count and know your net carbs per meal, so that you're cycling through them to give yourself time where you intermittent fast just from carbs. You can still eat. So if you're going to eat another meal, you'll make it more protein fat, like eggs, scramble some eggs and have some goat cheese with it. Maybe that's, a great protein and fat combination, but you'll cycle the carbohydrates throughout the day. A little bit more calculating, but more of a whole food based approach there as well. Hence why I like it. And then one that you may have heard of, the macrobiotic diet, which originally sourced out of Japan. So a lot of Japanese history it goes back to Japan on the macrobiotic, looking at the seasons and where you are on Earth and when you should be eating certain foods. So taking it one step further, saying, I'm doing the raw food diet. I'm eating bananas 12 months a year. This macrobiotic diet looks at it and says, bananas aren't growing 12 months a year. Maybe you should look at the growing cycle and eat when those are ripe, when those are growing. So a little bit of a different theory, but again, based on the whole food diet and from Earth. So really all of these tie in together as different diets. So beginning of the year, I wanted to just go through diets for you. Those are the most popular ones. There's a lot of other ones on there, but if you just listen to this and you step back 1 second and we sum it up with the top 3 things from today's podcast, they all say the same thing. Protein, meat, except for vegan and raw. Protein is important. We need to have our proteins. fats, and carbohydrates. That's what they're basing the earth off of. So fruits, veggies, meats, seeds, legumes, beans, anything that grows on a plant you can eat, or a tree, and anything that, farts and eats food, you can eat that animal too. Or swims in the sea. You can eat that as well. That's the top thing here. The second thing to walk away from today is that protein plays a role in these diets. And I didn't get into them in the vegan diet, the raw food diet, and those low calorie diets. Is that protein plays an important role. People always ask, really, how much protein? At least 100 grams per day. I don't care if you're a 100-pound female or 240-pound male. You need to be eating protein every single day, and at least 100 grams. At least 100 grams. The 100-pound female is like, what? Are you serious? I'm like, yes, even you. If you're an adult female, an adult male, you need to be eating at least 100 grams of protein per day. There's no debates here. Don't send me any questions on protein. If you're working out, there's calculations based on your mass and how much you should be eating, depending on whether you're trying to gain muscle mass. That's completely different. That's an exercise podcast at another time. Stop mixing, matching exercise with food. You do not exercise to lose weight. I repeat, you do not exercise to lose weight. I repeat, you do not exercise to lose weight. Let's crush that myth. You do not exercise to lose weight. So all of you that made the exercise resolutions, great. Stick with them, get more exercise, build your endurance. Your brain's going to feel better. You're going to lose the brain fog. You're going to have more focus. You're going to have better sleep, and you're going to have better circulation and better cardiovascular health. That's what you're going for, right? Great. If you're trying to lose weight, good luck. You cannot outrun a bad diet. Dr. D, always, all my weight loss talks, Dr. D, the toughest part is that obesity runs in my family. I'm like, Sally, obesity does not run in your family. Nobody in your family runs. And it's a joke. It's passed on because of habits. We all sat around the dinner table together growing up with our families. We ate the same way. We leave the home. We build our own traditions, which are very similar, our own habits, our late night snacking, and the habits continue. The point wasn't to make fun of Sally's entire family and lineage. It was to just prove a point. Listen, obesity doesn't run in your family. No one in your family runs. That's the point of that, is like you need to change your lifestyle on that. But it's not the right joke, because running alone isn't going to help you lose weight. You know what I'm saying? People, exercise and a great diet combined that fuel each other. Oh my gosh. Now you're in beast mode. Now you're in metabolic growth mode. Now you're in great mode. I think the combination of both are great. But when we extreme diet and extreme exercise, I see more sick people doing more damage to their body that way. I mean, kidney problems, heart problems, liver problems. I mean, serious problems. Be careful with this stuff. Be careful who you guide with, and have people who know what they're talking about helping you along the way. Woof, that turned a quarter there. And then number 3 is just eating from the earth. So 1, protein, 100 grams per day or more. It's tough. Go look at the grams of protein. Like a steak, a 6-ounce steak has 30 grams of protein. A chicken breast has like 28 grams of protein. 2 eggs have 14 grams of protein. I mean, right there, I'm at 60, 75, and I just gave you all the protein you probably eat for the day as your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was right there. You're like, what else do I have to do? A protein shake is what you got to do, or some protein-based food. You got to add some more. And remember, protein comes in some vegetables as well. So 100 grams, that's what you should be eating per day. Once you know these numbers, then it's almost impossible to add processed foods into the diet, because it just skews everything off the chart. So 1, 2, 3, top 8 diets that I think. This one was a great podcast because you guys created it. That was cool. I had to bump the other podcast ideas down a week, and we're gonna keep doing that. One's coming live from Canada. I am going to Canada and going to interview Dr. Colin Race, naturopath, together and get a video. That's going to be worth it. That's going to be great. So from Canada, stay tuned. Thank you for your following. We got like 200 uploads. Buzzsprout just sent me an email saying, congrats on your 200 uploads. So people are uploading this podcast. How cool is that? Thanks for guys. Send the messages coming. Stay engaged, share, like. See you next week.